The Australian PropTech sector is booming, and Joe Hunter, the CEO and Group MD of PropTech Group, joins us live now to tell us why PropTech businesses are growing rapidly, especially during the coronavirus pandemic. Joe, it's a pleasure to have you on Ticker today. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Brittany. Nice to be here.
Now, PropTech, this is a booming industry, I guess, despite the pandemic happening. So what exactly is it when we say PropTech? What is this all about?
So PropTech, or property technology, is essentially the use of information technology, both hardware and software, to help both individuals and companies such as developers or real estate agents research, buy, build, sell, rent and manage real estate. So similar to the way that FinTech focuses on the use of technology in the finance sector, PropTech essentially uses digital innovation to address the needs of the property industry. The PropTech Group, which is a company I run, is an Australian listed public company that focuses on investing in and operating leading PropTech software businesses that really serve the Australian, New Zealand and UK residential and commercial real estate markets.
Now, Joe, obviously many of us in Australia are still in lockdown and, open inspections can't happen, auctions as well. So what has this role of tech actually done for the property industry during COVID?
Well, it's really interesting because COVID has actually forced an acceleration of that digitisation of what would traditionally be offline activities. So as you mentioned, going to an auction face-to-face or looking at an open for inspection have really been replaced with online auctions and virtual tours. Now, what this means for the PropTech industry and for the property industry at large is that this digitisation actually provides invaluable insights into the way that consumers are behaving. And that data can be used to show intent. So, for example, a potential buyer's propensity to purchase is now a lot easier to identify than it was historically. Similarly, a potential vendor's propensity or willingness to sell, for instance. And this is because we now have the data that we can use in a digital form that enables machine learning algorithms and other technologies to run predictive models. So in essence, this data is used to help agencies run their business more effectively and efficiently, but it also helps consumers ensure that they're getting all the data they need to make informed decisions. And for the industry at large, what it means is that we have much cleaner and broader data around the general industry. All of this amounts to essentially having more data that can be used to fully understand where the industry is going. What we're certainly seeing is that COVID has not slowed down the property industry. In fact, we're seeing increases in house prices around Australia nationally, largely due to this digitisation. So essentially the COVID new normal hasn't slowed down the industry at all.
Yeah, I think we've definitely seen that trend across the whole sector. Now, PropTech Group has made a number of acquisitions both before and since it listed on the ASX. So congratulations on that milestone. That's incredible. Could you tell me a little bit more about this and I guess the sub-brands on how this all came together?
Yeah, absolutely. So we listed on the ASX in November of 2020 of last year, and we're made up of a number of sub-brands. As I mentioned earlier, most of those brands really seek to serve the way that real estate agencies run their back office operations. So everything from prospecting through to advertising listings, settlement, trust accounting, and everything in between, essentially by building tools that enable agents to run more effectively. Now, we work with agents from independents, boutiques, all the way up to the large corporates. And we do this across a range of brands. I'm proud to say that as of July 2021, over 41% of real estate agencies in Australia and New Zealand use at least one PropTech Group product. Now, it's important to note when we listed in November of 2020, that number was around 26%. And some of that has been driven through organic increases, but some has been acquisitions as well. So some of our brands, one of our flagship products is Voltar Re, and that's an all-in-one digital management platform for real estate agencies, including CRM as well as property management. Other brands include Eagle Software, which is a recent acquisition, again, CRM and listings management, Rent Inspect, Website Blue for websites for real estate agencies, and Designly as a marketing automation tool for real estate agents.
Yeah, and I guess when you look at where real estate was even perhaps 10 years ago, it's just amazing to see what this technology actually does to uplift the sector. So where do you see PropTech actually heading in the near future?
Well, it's interesting. If you look at where the spend has been on PropTech historically, and there's been over $20 billion spent globally in investment in PropTech startups and early stage businesses. And largely historically, that spend has been kind of by and large taken up by the portals, so the realestate.coms and the domains of the world. What we're seeing now is a bunch of niche players that are really servicing one segment of the whole life cycle of buying, selling, renting property. So we're seeing this proliferation of new companies entering the space that are solving a specific problem, all of which, when combined together, and that's really the aim of PropTech Group, into a single process, makes the process more streamlined and efficient for agents. More importantly, gives a lot more transparency to consumers. So I don't know if for your viewers that have been through the process of buying, selling or renting, it can feel a little bit disjointed. What we're seeing now is a whole bunch of software that really takes what we expect in other sectors like finance and e-commerce, for instance, and applies that technology or those methodologies, if you like, to the PropTech or the property industry, which will make the process a lot easier and a lot simpler for everyone.
And you've also announced a joint venture from PropPay. So what is PropPay, and how does this work in terms of improving as well for the PropTech Group offerings that you do have?
Yeah, so PropPay really serves to bridge the gap between PropTech and FinTech. And by that I mean through a joint venture with Flip Money, BC Invest and Conveni, what we're able to solve is payments, both platform for online payments and buy now, pay later solutions for the real estate industry. Now, how that makes sense is if you consider a vendor in Australia and New Zealand, we have vendor paid advertising, which means the person selling the house needs to pay for their advertising schedule up front. Now, if you're in the process of selling your house, you may not have enough cash, spare operating cash to afford the anywhere from 1,000 to 10,000+ in advertising schedule. So with PropPay, what we provide is a buy now, pay later solution for advertising, insofar as being able to spend as much as you want to get a mix of advertising schedule to ensure you get the best price for your house, but not pay for it until the house actually settles. So what this does is improves the ability for vendors to actually get the perfect schedule in order to extract the most value from their home. It also means that they can factor things like adding a lick of paint to the property before it sells, perhaps things like styling, and without the need to pay up front. Beyond that, for agents, PropPay really provides end-to-end payments capacity, again, in the same way that you would expect to receive from an e-commerce user experience. For renters, for instance, the ability to pay your rent through a credit card automatically. And then for agents, the ability to release commissions earlier, for vendors, the ability to release deposits earlier, and a range of fintech products really aimed at streamlining that process. The reason PropTech Group's involved in this is that we own the vast majority, over 41% of real estate agencies' desktops through our software platforms. And by deeply integrating payments with that, we could really streamline the process for agents and make it a much more seamless experience for consumers.
Yeah, it seems like you've got impeccable growth happening. My mum's been a property manager for over 20 years and very, very familiar with your software offerings. So you're definitely improving the sector itself, and can't wait to chat soon to see what happens next. Appreciate your time today, Joe.
Thank you very much.